whether you place a text document from an external source into InDesign or create text from scratch inside of InDesign, you have a lot of customization, a lot of options as far as how you treat the container that the text is inside of. So the text frame. And so I want to look at just real quickly over the next couple minutes the text frame options inside of InDesign. You'll notice I have an image that's been placed and it's got a text wrap applied to it. So if I choose that object and look in the text wrap panel, you notice there is a wrap applied and some properties applied there. My text has been, I've just drawn a type frame that fills to the margins on left and right and top and then ends at the bottom of this frame. I'd like for this text to be in 2 columns, and then I'd like to see what other options I can find that would apply to this frame, some ways I might be able to customize it. So let's go take a look. So with my text frame selected, this is a key aspect to this because you don't need the type selected. We're affecting the frame. So you're going to find this under the object menu because it treats the text frame like an object. So there's my text frame options. I've also got a shortcut either of Command B on the Mac or Control B on the PC that'll put me directly into the text frame options. So I'll click that. And the first thing you'll notice is I have the option to apply a fixed number of columns to this text frame. And if I work with my preview checkbox on, and I always do so that I can see what's happening, then I can see what's happening. So I will up this to 2. Already I've got my 2 columns. You'll notice though that it's not the same as the column that is applied directly to my document. I would like for it to be the same. So I know that gutter is a 1/2 inch because that's what it was when I set it up. But if you didn't know, you could change your gutter a little at a time until it got closer or it matched it exactly. And so there we are at a 1/2 inch. So I've got 2 columns, a 1/2 inch space or gutter in between. That makes each column 3.5 inches wide, which I don't really care about right now. All right. My next option down is inset spacing, and it took me forever to find this. So let's say, for instance, I wanted this particular text frame to be set apart from the rest of the information on the page. So maybe I wanted it to have a color. I'm going to OK this for now and come back. Okay. Excuse me. So if I apply a colored fill to my text frame, let's go to my swatches. All right, and a colored fill, I'm going to choose this gray. You can see that it did in fact apply the gray. Part of the problem though is that my text goes all the way to the edge, and so what a person used to do possibly would be to create a separate frame that was filled with gray. All right, then create a text frame. All right, and add their type to it and put it over it, and then I kind of eyeball it and create an inset here, if you will. All right, but now I've got a problem. When I move this thing around, I've got to make sure both objects are selected. All right, when one object gets resized, now I have to go resize the other, and it's just a nightmare. So the more of the options built into InDesign that we can use to manipulate our objects, the better, because they're put there to make our lives much more easier. Sometimes they're just kind of difficult to find. So the text frame options is one of those. It took me the longest time to find that, and when I did, I about wanted to jump off of a cliff knowing how much time I had wasted in my life doing things like I just showed you. So instead, let's go back here, go back into my text frame options using the shortcut, and now for the inset spacing, I'll click the chain link to make sure all these stay the same, and you can notice as I increase, now I have one frame that contains the text. It has a colored fill and an inset all at once. So if I go out and I resize this, the inset stays the same, okay, but the text moves, it reflows, okay? The color is still where it should be. It all gets changed together, which is a very good thing. Okay, so I'll go back. I'm gonna find my object. Let's see here. There's my object. Okay, so I've got let's go back and see what other kind of options we've got. There's my inset spacing, vertical justification. This is great. So if I have a text frame, I have a little banner along the bottom. All right, maybe it's the bottom of my letterhead, it's the bottom of an ad, and it's gonna have www.mywebsite.com, and I just want that centered along the bottom. But I want the frame to have a colored fill, and I want my site, I want that text to be centered within that vertically as well. So I could do it the old school way. I could make a separate frame, a separate text frame, and kind of eyeball it, or I can go in and say for my vertical alignment, let's go centered. And now it's centered. So that's also a very handy option. All right. There are some other options there. There are options as far as how the text sits in relation to the baseline within that frame. There's an auto size option that will force the frame to actually change size as you add text to it automatically. We won't visit those right now. For the fundamentals, these general options are going to be the ones that you would be concerned with the most. So don't forget, when you're manipulating text frames and you need columns, you need to color it and create an inset, those options are in the text frame options dialog box, and you access those from the object menu in InDesign CC.